Welcome to the August grocery shopping challenge for a family of 5. Let me throw you to the last Aldi haul that I made on the 24th of August. And then what we'll do is I'll tell you all the receipts of all the groceries that I bought this month, or actually last month because I'm filming it on the 1st of September. And I will give you the total. And together I will go through some lessons that I've learned along the way. Do you think I made it to $1,000 or do you think I went under? Way below and let me know whether you think I actually managed to succeed on the challenge of staying under $1,000, or do you think that maybe I went over and I might have to do some finessing to the results? I don't know. I'm going to have to add all these up while you're watching the next bit, and I'll see you at the other end. This is the last of my big shop for the month of August. I went to Coles just to grab a couple of things that I didn't have, but otherwise most of it is from Aldi. And at the end of the video, I will tell you, or at the end of this segment, I will tell you how much all this cost. Okay, let's start from this end. Now, this was my second biggest shop for the month of August. Otherwise, the first one was on the 1st, and today I think is the 24th of August. So this is really probably going to go into next month as well, but I will actually add it up into my August total because I feel like I also emptied out a lot of things that were in my pantry during the month of August and in my freezer. So let's start with the ham. I bought some more of the leg ham. We like that in sandwiches and in toasties. A little bit of prosciutto, a little bit of salami, a couple of bags of the frozen chips, some bacon, some tzatziki. Tonight we're making it's Sunday, and we're making a Greek feast. So I've got tzatziki, I am making tabbouleh from scratch, and I've bought lamb chops yesterday at the Vic market. So hence why there's not really any meat here, because I've already bought it at the market yesterday. Some block cheese, tasty cheese. I couldn't resist. This was $2.99, and I bought a mixed puzzle little book, only because when we travel, I carry a really big one, and it's just looking really grubby, and I thought, well, this is a mixed one rather than just straight Sudoku, and it'll be a little bit more fun. A couple of bags of corn chips, a bag of crinkle cut chips, date and apricot biscuits. We like those with the cream cheeses, with the camembert and the brie, which we still haven't finished from the last time that I bought them. So they've lasted quite well. I think in the last haul I bought about 5 or 6 of them. So we've just been, eating them once or twice a week as we go. New Zealand kiwi fruit, tzatziki, bacon for breakfast, beans for a dinner this week with the steak that I bought yesterday, some capsicum to go in salad, cucumber, a couple of the cracker biscuit boxes, tomatoes because I need to make tabbouleh and it takes a fair bit of tomatoes, some Pepsi Max, those were from Coles, the orange and mango juice, that was from Aldi, some skim milk and some full cream milk. Now, we don't normally drink full cream milk, but I want to attempt to make ricotta, and for ricotta you need a full cream milk. So toilet paper, basmati rice, I finished pretty much what was in the pantry, so this is to restock. I bought ground coffee because I'm actually going to be using my mocha or Italian cafetiera to make coffee more frequently, and I needed coffee. And since Aldi had it, I thought, why not? I'll buy from there. Peter Kalamata olives, jarred, and pitted and grilled artichokes, tuna, triple chili in oil, some lentils. I'd like to make a lentil salad, chickpeas. The kids just make them like a salsa, chickpeas, tomatoes, onions, a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper, and they have that with the crackers, with the corn chips, eggs, spring onions, some crumpets. This I got from Coles. It's the replacement of the goo remover. This is what they had, so I grabbed that. Some grana padano already grated, some grana padano in a block. Cat food, canned. The last one that I bought, this is from Coles. The last time that I bought canned cat food from Aldi, my cats just did not like it. In fact, they just leave it. And so the dogs end up eating it. So I've stocked up on a little bit of the Whiskers. This is their favourite. They like the casserole ones with mince and lamb, so that's what I've stocked up on. I bought some salad leaf mixes, one for tonight and one for during the week. and mandarins for snacks and fruit. Tiny mix of lollies, did I say that? Crackers, and I think this is it. Let me get my receipt and I'll tell you what the Aldi cost was and what the Coles cost was. So Coles came to $29.80. I had $10 worth of flybys that I could redeem, so I spent $19.80. And Aldi came to $206. I paid on credit card, so that came to $207.03. So I was actually impressed at the $207 and $20, so $227. This week I bought all this. So I'm really intrigued to see how I'm managing for the end of the month. I think I might come close to my $1,000 budget, but I have no idea whether it's going to be over or under. And there's another week to go, which means that I'll only really need to top up on milk and possibly eggs, but that's about it. So this is everything that ended up coming home with me on the 24th of August. So there's 1 week to go before I reveal how I went in my August challenge, feeding a family of 5 for $1,000 or under. Okay, so I finished adding up all my receipts, all 13 of them, in fact, and I have to say, I was amazed and impressed. I actually thought that I was not going to be able to make it to the $1,000 budget. I've never actually had to watch where I spend. I kind of always felt that my grocery budget was quite fluid and I would buy only as I needed to. You know, if we've got a bit more cash, then I'll spend it. If we don't, you know, we manage. And I feel like maybe that's not the best way to go through life. I kind of feel like, especially as, you know, prices are going up and we have to start tightening our belts sometimes, I thought it would be interesting to see how a month of grocery shopping, where I'm sort of being careful, but not really, ends us at. And I've tallied up 13 receipts. I can't believe that I go to the stores 13 times in a month to stock up on groceries. At best, I thought I used to go once a week. And I feel like if I go once a week, I thought I was actually going to be spending more by going once a week rather than going only on those times when I'm out of milk, out of eggs, out of fruit, out of veggies. The problem is that when I do that, go into the stores multiple times, I feel like I'm more likely to impulse buy. So anyway, so I've tallied up the receipts. I'm going to give you the result, and then I'm going to give you some lessons that I've learned and some takeaways from the month of August that I will implement into the month of September. Drum roll. Did I make it under 1,000 or did I go over? Well, if you said that I went over, you were probably correct. In fact, you are correct. I went over the budget by about $200 odd. And I was, on the one hand, I was actually amazed that it was only $200, but on the other hand, I actually was a little bit disappointed because I thought I was being very careful. I only did 2 main grocery hauls, 2 main shops, and those were both at Aldi. And the rest of the time, I just went to Coles and Woolies just to pick up what I thought was a couple of things. And those couple of things, though, did add up somewhere between $50 to $100 at a time. And so when you multiply that out by the, you know, the other 10 times that I went to the stores to buy things, it does add up quite a lot. And so I need to, for the month of September, start evaluating, you know, those ad hoc times that I go to the supermarket and really not get attracted, shall we say, by the, you know, extra specials that they have or the impulse shops. You know, I went to the supermarket one day and, okay, let's pick a Woolies that came to $50 odd. This was on the 11th of August. And on that day, it looks like I probably only went to get the serviettes, because I remember we were out, and the kitchen tidy bags. What ended up coming home with me that day was beef, a kilo of beef, 2 packets of Tim Tams. Now, the beef, I can understand. It would have been meat. I needed it for the week because I hadn't bought a lot of meat earlier in the month. Tim Tams was an impulse buy. Stain remover, I probably would have needed. And the almond meal, I probably would have needed. But overall, I spent an extra $6, which isn't a lot, on Tim Tams. So maybe that's not a good example of one. Let me find another one. Okay. On the 8th of August, I went to get cat food because we had run out. So I spent $47 on cat food, and then I bought myself body lotion for $5, which isn't much. Here's one. I went to the supermarket to get milk and to get tea because we'd finished the chamomile tea that Kevin likes. Arnott's shapes were on sale. So I ended up buying 10 packets of those, which were not on my list. Oh, no. 10 packets of those, and then they had a big bundle of the heavy-duty sponges that I normally buy and pay, $2, and I buy 2 for, say, I think it's about $4. This had a bundle of 18 for $7. So those ended up coming home with me, and the shapes ended up coming home with me. So I could rationalize that a lot of the impulse purchases that I made during the month were things that were going to save me money in the long term. So overall, if I look at it that way, then the excess over the $1,000 that I purchased is things that is going to be lasting me through the next few months. Have I told you what the total came to? Drum roll. It came to $1,198.41. That's not bad. Just under $1,200 for a family of 5, where I tried to limit the big bundle shopping by going to the supermarket more frequently than I otherwise would. So for the impulse purchases that I made, I feel like I didn't do too badly. Now, is there room for improvement? Absolutely. Just as a takeaway though, I did note how much we spend on pet food. And we spent just under $105 on pet food. So if I take that out, then my grocery bill was, just over $1,000, $1,090 was on groceries. And then depending on how you cut it, I could say that personal care is not really grocery. But anyway, the way I look at it is anything that I buy from the supermarket for me is my grocery budget. So $1,200, when I looked at the different ways I could have cut it, I thought that wasn't too bad for the month of August. Now, I do have to state though that I did empty out a lot of the meat that I had in my freezer. So I had a lot of chicken, I had a lot of mince, I had some schnitzel steaks that I had bought from Costco and also from Woolies and Coles and Aldi earlier in the month or the previous month. So my freezer was well stocked, so I didn't have to buy a lot of the high ticket pieces like, the meat this month or was in August that I will probably have to do in September. So I'll have to be careful there. So I used up a lot of what was in my freezer and I used up a lot of what was in my pantry, but also during the month I did restock my pantry. So my pantry is probably at a good place at the moment. It's got enough of all the things that I need, provided I restock, regularly every time I go to the supermarket. The lesson that I learned that was really hard is that it's really hard to stick to a budget if you go to the supermarket frequently because of the impulse purchases. Supermarkets are designed to get you to spend extra money. So unless you go in with, a list and you stick to that list, you're guaranteed to spend more. So if I limit in September the number of times that I go to the supermarket, then I feel I will have more control over my budget for September. Pet food. I didn't realize how much it added up. Over $100. I thought I was being very careful with my pet food, but 5 pets, that's like $20 per pet. So in the scheme of things, I feel like that's not too bad per pet. So $105 for the month. I think that's pretty good considering that my pets, both cats and dogs, they tend to eat cat food. rather than dog food, which tends to be more expensive, I feel, than dog food. What can I do? They have a bowl of both. They have a bowl of dry kibble for cats and dry kibble for the dogs. They eat the cat food first and then they get to the dog food. And I really only try and top it up now. Sorry, I'm looking that way because that's where the cat and dog food stand is. They tend to, I'm trying to monitor how much we top it up. We used to top it up every time one of the cats would come in and give them an extra scoop. Now we're trying to be a little bit more conservative with how much we give them. At night is the only time that they get a treat, which is canned food for the cats. And I did have to swap out to the Whiskers because my cats just did not like the Aldi brand. My cats are Whiskers cats, what can I say? And so with that, I try and make sure that I only buy the cans when they're on sale. But even with that, it does add up. You know, if you've got pets, they cost money. Someone in my previous video did say that I could make my own pet food, but because my pets eat kibble mostly rather than canned food, I kind of feel like, you know, it's justified. My pets vary their food because I buy different logs. Sometimes I might give them a can of meat. Sometimes they'll get scraps from our meals. A couple of times a week they'll get scraps from our table and they'll get, you know, quite enough food for them for the day. The cats, they'll get my chicken scraps. You know, if I've bought chicken breast with the skin on, I cut it up, cook it off and give it to them. So they like that. So they get extra nutrition through the food scraps that I create in my day-to-day cooking. So for me to actually cook like a pot and put in minced rice, veggies for my cats and dogs, it's just not something that works in my season of life anyway. It might change. I might take it up later on, but at the moment I'm comfortable with, you know, what we're feeding them. My pets are all healthy. Don't have any, touch wood, vet issues with them, diet, exercise and things like that. They're all quite healthy. So overall, what would I say? Sorry, I made notes so that I wouldn't ramble on. I'm actually pleased with the outcome. I would have liked to have seen it under the $1,000 mark, but realistically, I feel like, you know, for a family of 5, that's pretty good. The only thing that I think that I could do better is actually meal plan. I do not meal plan. I buy, you know, whatever I feel like buying at the supermarket that catches my eye. I generally buy things that are in season. And so I feel like, you know, I'm being careful with my shopping, but I feel like if I meal planned, I could do so much better. So in September, that's my takeaway. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'll do a little bit more meal planning, perhaps, you know, work out that, you know, I'll cook one day and then we'll have leftovers the following day. I don't know. I'm open to suggestions. What works for you? Let's share and let's all learn together and help each other out here, because I feel like there is so much opportunity for us to learn to be wiser shoppers and also wiser cooks in our kitchen. I don't know if this video has helped you, whether it's something that you're interested in me pursuing some more. It's one of those things that I thought would be fun to do in August. And now as a wrap up, I feel like I've learned quite a bit. And if you find that this would help you in your day-to-day budgeting and help you sort of get a different perspective on where to shop, how to shop and what to cook, then I'm very happy to continue to do this. I'm actually thinking that for the month of September, I would actually keep a record of what meals I cook each day so that then I can see, okay, how often do we eat meat in a week? How often do we eat fish in a week and chicken and pasta and things like that? And is our diet actually healthy? I mean, we all think we'll eat healthy, but do we? Do I make the most of the things that I buy? I don't feel like I throw a lot of food out, but there's always room for improvement. So anyway, so for the month of September, my takeaway is going to be to go to the supermarket less often, meal plan, and keep a record of the meals that I cook each night. And then at the end of September, not show you, but perhaps give you a record of what I've cooked. So perhaps if you need some ideas on how to make your budget stretch further, this might be of assistance to you. Anyway, I hope it helped. I hope you found it entertaining. Until next time, my friends, let me know in the comments below, did you guess that I actually went over budget? Or did you think I'd actually made it under budget? I'm curious. And if you thought I went over or under, by how much did you think I went over and under? Until next time, have a fabulous day wherever you are, and thanks for watching. Bye.